Hello everyone, hope you are doing well. Today we'll learn a new concept about algebra, which is how to multiply algebraic expressions. So let's start. So these are the three steps or three rules that we need to keep in mind while multiplying algebraic expressions. So first and the foremost is the multiply the signs together. So whenever you have been given two or more algebraic expressions that we need to multiply, always and always first multiply the signs together. Second is multiply the numeric coefficients or the numbers together. And third is, which is the last step, at the end multiply the variables to get the final answer. To understand these steps more precisely, let's look at some examples. So, first example says multiply 3x with minus 5yz. Before we start and before we apply the rules, let's have a look at the hint which is given over here. The hint says whenever you are multiplying, please remember whenever you multiply a positive sign with a negative sign, your final answer would always be having a negative sign. Similarly, if you are multiplying a negative sign with a positive sign, again your answer would be negative. And third says, if you are multiplying a positive sign with a positive sign, your answer would turn out to be a positive. And the last one is, if you are multiplying a negative sign with a negative sign, your final answer would be positive. Or we can simply remember it by the concept given below, that minus, if we multiply the minus sign even number of times, like 2 times, like over here we were multiplying the minus 2 times, answer would be positive. So whenever we multiply the negative sign even number of times, our answer would always and always be having a positive sign. Similarly, second hint says whenever we multiply the minus odd number of times, like here, minus multiplied odd number of times would always be a negative. For example, if you look at this case, minus, there was one minus and one plus. So minus was there odd number of times, one time. That's why answer turned out to be with negative sign. Right? I hope it's clear. Please keep in mind these things. Minus multiplied even number of times would be positive and minus multiplied odd number of times would be negative. Now let's start with the question. It says multiply 3x with minus 5yz. So following the steps, first we will multiply the signs. Since 3x doesn't have a sign before it, so it means it is positive, right? So plus multiplied with minus. As our hint says, if minus is there odd number of times, here minus is there just one time, which is odd. So answer would be negative. That's why the answer is negative, right? Now second step says multiply the numbers or the numeric coefficients now. Numeric coefficients means the numbers which are written before the variables in the question. Like here 3 is the numeric coefficient of x and minus 5 is the coefficient of yz. So basically we have multiplied the signs, so now we are left to multiply the numbers. So 3 times 5 is 15, that's how we got 15. Now at the end we multiply the variables. There was a x multiplied with yz. Whenever variables are different and if you are asked to multiply them, we simply write them together. X times yz means xyz. It means it is x times y times z. That's how we write the variables. I hope it's clear to you. Let's look at one more example. So the second example says multiply minus 3x over 10 with minus 5 over 18 yz. So this question consists of a fraction. So there is nothing to worry about. It's similar like we normally solve the fractions, like we normally multiply the fractions. Following the same rules, first multiply the signs. There is a negative sign over here, there is a negative sign over here. So minus is present even number of times, that is 2 times. That's why our answer is positive. There is no minus sign before our answer, right? Now, second step says multiply the numeric coefficients or the numbers present in the algebraic expressions. So when we started multiplying minus 3 over 10 with 5 over 18, we can simply multiply them, but we have learned that we can also simplify fractions. Means if there is something in the numerator or denominator that could be cancelled, then we should cancel it. Like 3 ones are 3 and 3 times 6 is 18, right? Similarly, 5 ones are 5 and 5 times 2 is 10. So we are left with 1 times 1, which is 1, and 2 times 6, which is 12. That's how it's 1 over 12. I hope it's clear. Now the last step says multiply the variables. There was a x in the numerator and this yz is, whenever it's written like this, it means it is in the numerator. So x times yz is nothing but xyz only. We got 1xyz over 12, but 1 we can write or we cannot. It doesn't really create any kind of difference. So we can simply write down the final answer as xyz over 12. I hope it's clear to you. Now let's learn something more about it. So till now we have learned when the variables were different, how were we multiplying them? We were simply writing them together. Now the case is when the variables are same, how will we multiply them? So please remember, in multiplication, if the variables are same, or we can say if the bases are same, then powers get added. What do I mean by it? I'll try to explain it with the help of an example. For example, x square times x cube times x. So if you look here carefully, you can see that the variables are same. So we can say that here the base is x in all the three algebraic expressions. X is the base and the powers are 2, 3, and since there is no power above x, it means it is x raised to power 1. So there is power 1. So x is the base and powers are 2, 3, 1. Whenever the bases are same, like in this case the bases are same, the base is x for all the three. What we do, we simply put the base one time, we write it just one time and powers get added. So what we are doing over here is, since there is x square multiplied with x3, x cube multiplied with x. So we are writing the base one time and adding the powers. So 2 plus 3 plus 1. That's how we got x raised to power 6. I hope it's clear to you. Let's look at few examples related to the same rule. So the example says multiply q times 2pq square with minus 6pq times 8p cube q5. So how will we multiply? Keeping the rules same, first multiply the signs. As you can see, there is minus present just one time. It means minus is their odd number of times, so answer would be negative. That's how we got a negative answer. Second step says that we need to multiply the numbers together. So what we did is, we multiply the numbers together. So 2 times with 6 times with 8. So 8 times 6 is 48 and 48 times 2 is 96. That's how we got 96. Right? Now we are left with the variables. But as soon as we looked at the variables, it's quite clear that we have two variables in this question, p and q. But as we know, if the variable is same, we can multiply them using the rule that if bases are same, powers get added. So let's first solve for p. There is p raised to power 1. Similarly, here also there is p raised to power 1. Here p raised to power 3. So when we multiply these p's together, so it's p raised to power 1 plus 1 plus 3, which is equal to 5. That's how we got p raised to power 5. Clear? Now let's look at q now. So there is q. So there is q raised to power 1 over here. There is q square over here. There is q raised to power 1 here. And there is also a q raised to power 5. When we multiplied it, since base was q, in all the four, so powers get added. So 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 5. So 5 plus 1 is 6, 6 plus 2 is 8, 8 plus 1 is 9. That's how we got q raised to power 9. I hope it's clear. Final answer, we write it all the things together, that is minus 96 p raised to power 5 q raised to power 9. Now moving forward to one more question of the similar kind. It says multiply 3 over 19 x y z and y cube and 5 over 4 z square x. Again following the same rules, first multiplying the signs. Since all of them are having a positive sign, there is no negative sign, it means all of them are positive, so that's why our final answer is positive. Now the second rule says multiply the numbers together. So if we look at the numbers, they are in fraction, like there is 3 over 19 and then there is 5 over 4. If you can cancel it, you simplify it, you can. If we cannot, we simply multiply it. So 3 times 5 is 15 and 19 times 4 is 76. That's how we got 15 over 76 over here, right? Now let's multiply the variables together. As you can see in the question that there is x, but x is not just present one time. In fact, it is there more than one time. So first let's solve for x. Since there is x raised to power 1, here also it's x raised to power 1. So applying the rule that when bases are same, base is x and they are in multiplication, then powers get added. So x raised to power 1 multiplied with x raised to power 1 is x raised to power 1 plus 1, which is x raised to power 2. I hope it's clear. Now solving for y. Y is here with power 1. Here y is there with power 3 and there is no more y. So since they are in multiplication, base is y, so powers get added. 1 plus 3 is 4. That's how we got y raised to power 4. Clear? Similarly solving for z. So here z is having power 1. Here z is having power 2 and they are in multiplication. So z raised to power 1 multiplied with z square is z raised to power 1 plus 2, which is z cube. That's how we got z cube. So our final answer is 15 over 76 x square y4 z cube. I hope it's clear to you. And if you have any doubt, you can ask in the comment box. And thank you for your time. If you like the video and if you find the video useful for you, then please do like it and subscribe to the channel so that you do not miss the upcoming videos.